We will continue to work, as we have done in the 4 months in government, on issues of security, our economy and global conflict.
But in the budget, which was probably the toughest, I'm really pleased that we were able to put so much money into the National Health Service.
Mr. Speaker, I'm privileged to be the proud owner of a copy of the former Prime Minister's new book. It's a rare, unsigned copy.
Remember when Keir Starmer was hailed as Labour's great hope? Those days are long gone. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favour. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Today, we're diving into the explosive revelation that's rocking British politics. Starmer's approval rating has hit rock bottom, and a shocking secret from his past has just come to light. The Labour Party is in turmoil, and you won't believe what happens next. Keir Starmer's journey as Labour leader began with promise, but has since devolved into a political nightmare.
And rather than sit around, we've got them all together today to talk to Angela and to me and to Rachel Reid. And I took the decision that we would take the hard decisions first. I think anybody who's turned around, I don't know, an organisation or a business.
We've got a billionaire Prime Minister and a billionaire Prime Minister, both of whose families have used schemes to avoid millions of pounds of tax, smearing a working-class woman.
When he first took the reins, party members saw him as the antidote to years of Conservative dominance. His legal background and reputation for competence initially gave Labour a much-needed boost in the polls. Voters seemed drawn to his measured approach and professional demeanour, a stark contrast to the perceived chaos of the Johnson government. But as time wore on, cracks started to appear in Starmer's carefully constructed image. His leadership style, once praised for its steadiness, began to leave many feeling cold and detached. Labour supporters yearned for passion and inspiration, but Starmer's robotic delivery and apparent lack of connection with ordinary people left them wanting. This growing disconnect became impossible to ignore as the months passed. Labour's policy shifts under Starmer's guidance have only exacerbated the problem. Core supporters found themselves alienated by what they saw as a rightward drift, while swing voters were left confused by the party's muddled messaging. On key issues like Brexit and the economy, Labour's stance became increasingly unclear. Starmer's attempts to appeal to both Remainers and Leavers resulted in a wishy-washy middle ground that satisfied neither camp. The internal dissent within Labour has grown to a fever pitch. Councillors and MPs are now publicly criticising Starmer's direction, a clear sign that the facade of party unity has crumbled. Recent local elections have been nothing short of disastrous, with Labour losing ground in areas that were once considered party strongholds. The writing is on the wall, and it spells trouble for Starmer's leadership. Perhaps most damning of all are the recent polls showing Labour's lead evaporating. Some surveys even put the party behind the Conservatives, a shocking reversal of fortune that seemed unthinkable just months ago. Critics have labelled Labour's performance under Starmer a complete omni-shambles, accusing the party of forgetting the realities faced by ordinary people. Starmer's initial promises, such as his pledge to remove tuition fees, now ring hollow. Young voters feel betrayed by his failure to follow through, further eroding his credibility. The pressure is mounting from all sides, and one has to wonder, how much longer can Starmer hold on? With each passing day, his grip on power seems to weaken, and the calls for new leadership grow louder. The Labour Party stands at a crossroads, and Starmer's political future hangs in the balance. Just when Starmer thought his political woes couldn't get worse, a dark secret from his legal career has exploded into the public domain. The Conservatives are having a field day, but it's the reaction within Labour that's truly shocking. What damning revelation has caused such internal turmoil that some are demanding an immediate leadership contest? For months, whispers of a scandal from Starmer's past have circulated in Westminster's corridors. Now, the truth is out, and it's more damaging than anyone could have imagined. The revelation stems from Starmer's time as Director of Public Prosecutions, a role that was once seen as a feather in his cap, but has now become an albatross around his neck. Leaked documents suggest Starmer made a highly controversial decision in a high-profile case during his tenure as DPP. The details of this case remain murky, but sources indicate it involved a sensitive political issue that has long divided public opinion. Critics argue that Starmer's handling of the case shows not just poor judgment, but a fundamental lack of integrity, a charge that cuts to the very core of his carefully cultivated image as a man of principle. The fallout within the Labour Party has been swift and brutal. MPs who once stood shoulder to shoulder with Starmer are now distancing themselves faster than you can say political liability. Some have gone further, openly calling for an immediate leadership contest. It's a startling reversal of fortune for a man who not long ago was seen as Labour's great hope for electoral success. The Conservative Party, meanwhile, is seizing on the scandal with gleeful abandon. Their attacks in Parliament have been relentless and blistering, leaving Starmer looking increasingly beleaguered with each passing day. Social media is ablaze with trending hashtags calling for his resignation, reflecting a broader sentiment of discontent among Labour supporters and the wider public. Starmer's attempts to explain his actions have only fueled further criticism and doubt. His carefully worded statements and evasive answers during interviews have left many feeling that he's hiding something even more damaging. The court of public opinion seems to have already reached its verdict, and it's not in Starmer's favour. Political commentator Claire Muldoon didn't mince words when she described Labour's leadership under Starmer as a complete omnishambles. This scandal, she argues, has only highlighted the growing disconnect between the party's actions and the needs of the public. With each passing day, Starmer's grip on power seems to weaken, and the calls for new leadership grow louder. The Labour Party stands at a crossroads, and the future of British politics hangs in the balance. The Labour Party finds itself at a critical juncture, torn between loyalty to Starmer and the harsh reality of political survival. As the pressure continues to mount, Starmer's resignation seems less a question of if and more a matter of when. The party faces a daunting task: finding a leader who can unite its fractured factions and restore public trust. Without a clear and unifying voice at the helm, Labour risks further decline in its electoral prospects. The implications of this crisis extend far beyond the confines of the party. The future of British politics hangs in the balance, with the next general election looming on the horizon. The Conservative Party, despite its own challenges, stands to benefit from Labour's disarray. As Starmer's approval ratings plummet, the opposition's ability to hold the government to account weakens, potentially reshaping the political landscape for years to come.